tell me why I went to a fashion business school. Here's my degree. I went to a fashion business school and I cannot even get a job that makes more than $17 an hour.
So she's very shocked. She's very shocked that $17 an hour looks to be either the start pay per hour or maybe even the max pay per hour within the fashion industry. I have no idea about anything fashion related in terms of pay, compensation, things like that, benefits. So I want to learn more about this, but I also am not surprised that this is something that she's encountering. And I don't want to bag on this girl. The comments do a fair bit of that. That's not the point of this channel. The point of this channel is to learn, to grow, to teach you guys something. And also, I just want to stop right here because she is shocked that $17 an hour looks to be the max amount that she's going to get paid right out of college getting this degree. To me, that's not shocking at all, and probably to you, it's not either. But let us continue.
I work for big brands. Like, I have experience working for luxury brands. I have multiple internships under my belt. I'm very smart. I'm very capable. And literally none of these places are hiring. Every single job, especially where I'm applying to in Manhattan, because the fashion capital of the world. I'm like, if I'm going to go anywhere, it's going to be Manhattan.
So she's in the right place. That's not the issue. Location's not the issue. I am really, really wondering how she is going to survive in Manhattan, though, off of $17 an hour. It's obviously not impossible. You can get roommates. You can get a really, really small apartment with roommates. But it just does not seem like a good situation to be in financially, and I think she's beginning to realize that. But let us continue.
I cannot get a job that pays more than like $17 an hour. Like, am I gonna be poor forever? Like, I'm just like, I can't. And people are like, just keep applying. I'm like, I've been applying every single day.
So she knows she's in a tough situation.
Every single day, doing hundreds of applications. I'm about to call my school up and say that this degree that I spent 4 years trying to get, 4 years, was a waste of money.
So kudos to her, for one, for recognizing that the degree in this case was an absolute waste of money. There's so much more to talk about, not just when it comes to college and degrees, but also in this particular field as well. I've been on sets and I've seen girls like this. She's a very prototypical Manhattan stylist. And those girls are, top of their game. Like, I could never imagine doing that myself. Like, I wear a black sweatshirt and this hat occasionally. I know nothing about fashion. So there is a demand for these types of positions, for these types of individuals to work on sets with major fashion brands and things like that. But I think the biggest issue here is, again, thinking that you needed a 4-year degree in order to get on set and in order to get these types of jobs. I hope this video, other than it being entertaining for those of you who like to scoff at people for wasting time and money going to college, is enlightening to the fact that you don't need a degree to get a good job, especially when it comes to jobs in the arts and fashion industry. Any type of job that you might want when it comes to something like this, in fashion, in the arts, anything where it's creative, you need to know the right people. And unfortunately, what this girl looks to have done is spent those 4 years in school studying what one person could learn in a 4-year period that she could not learn on set. Kind of blows my mind. But she spent that time focusing on studies and paying for this degree, which ultimately did not pay off. Where it would have been my suggestion, having the knowledge that I have now, to say, skip out on that and just try to get on set, try to get jobs, just jump right in, because most of these creative jobs are trade jobs. Like, that's just what they are. And I know multiple people that do this. They skip the degree and they just went straight to New York. That's where you need to be. You need to be in New York or LA, but more than likely you need to be in Manhattan, and find your way onto set, find your way into knowing the right people, getting these connections, and you'll be able to then grow a career in this type of path or in this type of industry. Now, when it comes to compensation and pay, the $17 an hour, that probably, I wouldn't say is the ceiling for a job in the fashion industry. I have no idea what the ceiling is. I would assume if you're working in the fashion industry, you'd want to work your way up. whether you're a stylist at the start and then you begin to freelance stylist for different sets. I know people that do that as well, and they're very successful and they're very good. And I know even now, social media has become a different branch of utilizing fashion and style, with all these different types of content creators doing that. The whole point of this video is just to reiterate and emphasize that if you're looking to get into one of these creative job fields, whether it's in fashion, music, the arts, whatever, you could probably skip the 4-year degree, because the best argument that one would make for a 4-year degree or going to a 4-year degree in Manhattan in fashion is that you will get to know the right people. You'll grow those connections while you're going to school. And while that may be true, you will also get those connections while being in the field itself. This I can guarantee you. As long as you're kind, as long as you're, a fun person to be around and just generally a servant, you'll find your way onto the right places and you'll get to go into the right rooms, and eventually doors will open. You have to knock on the door for it to open. And now, unfortunately, she didn't mention any type of school debt. She didn't mention any type of student loans, but I'm just going to assume that she is carrying some sort of student loan debt. And now she has to pay for that with no income. And then when she does get a job, it will more than likely be $17 an hour, which in my mind just baffles me how one can survive off $17 an hour in New York City. It just doesn't make sense. And I do want to emphasize, when it comes to just getting a job in general, the key to getting any job, in my opinion, is who you know and who knows you. And obviously this is different for different vocations. If you're in the STEM field, if you're in medicine, if you're in law, obviously you need to go to school to do those things. When it comes to the rest of us who are just looking for experience, looking for some sort of education, yes, I think education is important. You have to be educated in order to make an impact in anything you do. But do I think that you should do that at the behest of your future financial situation? No. I think you should find situations where there's a community college that's near you, or a local college that's willing to give you a better tuition rate than traveling out of state and paying crazy tuition fees and dorm and all this different stuff. Going to a school that's nearby your home so you can commute, or even doing school online in some cases might be better. Yes, you do need to know people, and college is good to do that. But I think, again, people underestimate just how much you can be around other people outside of college, but you really have to think about, is this going to benefit me in the long run? Is this going to serve me in the long run, carrying this amount of debt going forward? My generation, the millennials, we had this idea that was fed to us, which was, you have to do this, you have to go to college. And I think as the years progress, it's becoming more and more evidently clear that you simply do not need to do it. You can do it. You absolutely can do it. There are benefits to it. But I think this idea that you have to do it just doesn't make sense, because ultimately you are putting yourself at a disadvantage financially for the most part if you have average grades and if you don't really know what you want to do yet, because you're going to just kind of search and you might delay your graduation, and then you add another year or two or a semester or two of tuition, and then you end up graduating, you go into a career field, and then you end up not even liking that career field. It's just not a good situation. There do have to be reforms, there do have to be changes. But I think right now, since those things are not happening, I would heavily advise people from just jumping into college because it's what you have to do, or because it's what you think is what you have to do. There are different paths now. There are different paths. And I think we should use this example of this girl thinking that her degree is a complete joke as a point for you to say, well, maybe I don't need to do, a 4-year degree at a college out of state. Maybe I should do something that is closer by. It's going to cost less. So take that for what you will. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.